Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Krier, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And it's interesting, I was listening to something earlier today, and they were saying, you don't need to make money doing this. And of course, he was being facetious because he said, even if it's your passion, if it's what you love, now there are volunteer, right? But he said, if you're doing this for a living, you need to make a living, which means you need to have money. Most of us were not born independently wealthy. Most of us do have bills that we have to pay. And so I'm going to have so much fun talking with my guest today. So please join me in welcoming Joel Solomon to our program today. Welcome, Joel. How are you?
I am great. Thanks so much for having me. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here today.
Great. Well, let me tell people just a little bit about you, and then we will jump into this. So, Joel Solomon is a finance, mindful money expert and prosperity coach who helps others overcome obstacles standing in the way of their financial freedom. He is the founder of Solomon Management. I think I said that right. We're going to talk about the name later. And is an award winning TEDx speaker, workshop facilitator, and frequent television and podcast guest. As a former manager of a $700 million portfolio, the creator of his own successful hedge fund, and the author of 3 best-selling books, he has learned that the true foundation of wealth is a mindset of gratitude, love, and service. And so we're definitely going to talk about that a lot more. But Joel, welcome again to our program.
Thank you so much. It's really great to be here.
Well, I always ask my guests, tell us a little bit more about yourself because people care about that.
So I started my career and have a long career in the
Mm-hmm.
financial services industry and in finance. And so I started my career as an actuary.
Mm-hmm.
Deb, you may know the difference between an actuary and an accountant.
Mm-hmm. I was
An
married.
actuary,
I am married to one of those actuary people.
okay, well, an actuary looks at his feet when he talks to you, an accountant
Right.
looks at your feet when they talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They say an accountant is an actuary with charisma,
Mm-hmm. Not a lot, but a
but
little
I'm not
better.
the typical actuary.
You are
But
definitely not. Mm-hmm.
I did go through all the exams. I am a fellow of the Society of Actuaries. I can
Okay.
still sign the financial
Mm-hmm.
statements of
Mm-hmm.
insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went through all those exams and took me 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working at an insurance company when I realized somewhere through the exams that I really disliked actuarial science. I really disliked my day job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But one of the exams was on finance and investing.
Mm-hmm.
And I started applying some techniques in my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And in while I was working at the insurance company, I realized if I could ever align my hobby and my career,
Ah.
it wouldn't be work, it would be
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I reached out to actuaries
Mm-hmm.
on Wall Street
Mm-hmm.
and I got consensus.
Mm-hmm.
Don't move. You have the best job in the country.
Of course they'd say that.
In fact, in 1992, the actuary was on the cover of Forbes magazine as the best job in the
Wow.
United
Mm-hmm.
States.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, once you pass the
Mm-hmm.
exams, the stress is low, but
Mm-hmm.
during the exams, stress is very high.
It's study every day. I mean, anybody
Right.
who has, yeah, and study for hours every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. It took me
Mm-hmm.
7+ years. And so, but I really didn't want to continue doing that. And so I reached out to
Mm-hmm.
dozens and dozens
Mm-hmm.
of actuaries on Wall Street and finally found one who gave me his path.
Mm-hmm.
And I followed it mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And 15 years later, I'm working in 2008 at Citigroup,
Mm-hmm.
hired as a professional money manager, hedge
Mm-hmm.
fund manager.
Mm-hmm.
But Deb, you may remember, I know you're quite young, so you probably don't, but 2008 was not the best year in the stock market.
Not, and yeah, finances kind of took a nosedive. Mm-hmm.
So the stock market here in the US was down 50, no, 40%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Financial stocks, the only ones I was invested in were
Mm-hmm.
down 57%.
Oi.
And I did manage to make a little bit of money for the Citigroup shareholders that
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
And the next year was a bit better. And I might actually still be there today, but there
Mm-hmm.
was a law that was passed that said banks can't own hedge funds.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
So we were all laid off,
Mm-hmm.
which actually gave me the kick in the butt to start
Mm-hmm.
to do my true dream,
Mm-hmm.
which was to have my own
Mm-hmm.
company
Mm-hmm.
investing. So in 2012, I went about the business of raising money
Mm-hmm.
to start my fund and manage other people's money.
Mm-hmm.
And I got two insurance companies that had to orally agree to give me money. So
Mm-hmm.
I was investing in insurance companies,
Mm-hmm.
money management
Mm-hmm.
companies, business development
Right.
companies, all the
Mm-hmm.
financial
Mm-hmm.
type companies. And they knew me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to them
Mm-hmm.
when I said, "Hey, I'm launching
Mm-hmm.
this new business." And they said, "Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're really interested. We
Mm-hmm.
like your process." So I went about the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
process of starting a hedge
Mm-hmm.
fund, hiring
Mm-hmm.
a prime broker, a
Mm-hmm.
lawyer, accountant, an auditor,
Mm-hmm.
finding real estate space. I
Mm-hmm.
actually moved into prime real estate space in December
Mm-hmm.
2012, right off of Madison Avenue on
Oh,
54th Street in
that
Madison,
is
in
prime.
Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
actually got, I had glass window and I
Ooh.
actually was able to see
Mm-hmm.
Madison Avenue. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I've arrived
You
and I
yes,
get
I'm
in,
here.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
So first day, get on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
call my two investors, and both of them backed out.
Because it was an oral agreement.
Yes. And I could have given up.
Right.
I could have said, well, I got this
Wasn't
close,
meant to be.
wasn't meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I did something different,
Mm-hmm.
and which we could talk about a lot
Mm-hmm.
more, which is I acted as if I already had the money.
Mm-hmm.
And how did I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I went to conferences as if we were already
Mm-hmm.
invested,
Mm-hmm.
talking with the companies we would be
Mm-hmm.
invested in when we actually start. I hired my
Mm-hmm.
analyst. I told them, don't come into the
Mm-hmm.
office because we were charged based on the seat. So if I was the only
Ah,
one
okay.
sitting
Mm-hmm.
there,
Mm-hmm.
we got charged $3,000 per seat. So I was getting $3,000 charge. If
Mm-hmm.
he walked into the
Mm-hmm.
office, it would be
Mm-hmm.
6,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And my CFO come in 9,000 and
Mm-hmm.
so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this was
And
work from home. Mm-hmm.
the work from home
Mm-hmm.
before work from home
Mm-hmm.
was even a term
Mm-hmm.
in 2013. And so I said, so we got on calls every day and
Mm-hmm.
we acted as if we were already
Mm-hmm.
invested. And I did something more
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I put together a spreadsheet as if we were already invested in the stocks.
Ah,
And I
okay.
calculated
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
returns each
Mm-hmm.
day. And I,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Sean, good day
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. We
Mm-hmm.
made $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, terrible day. We
Mm-hmm.
got to move things
Mm-hmm.
around. We lost
Mm-hmm.
$1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that throughout all of
Mm-hmm.
January. Now, I did also take action, and
Mm-hmm.
taking action breeds clarity,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I reached out to a ton of potential investors,
Mm-hmm.
other insurance companies, family
Mm-hmm.
offices, so on. And I had one good meeting with another insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 weeks after that, we had a tentative written
Mm-hmm.
agreement. And 3 months after that, the money was in the bank.
Wow.
And I truly believe
Mm-hmm.
by acting as if
Mm-hmm.
we had the money, we got the money.
Right. Right.
So I launched my hedge fund
Mm-hmm.
and I'm living my dream.
Mm-hmm.
2013, we made 10% in 6 months.
Ooh.
Unheard of at a
Mm-hmm.
hedge fund because we're
Mm-hmm.
hedged. We're
Mm-hmm.
we're
Right.
like if the market's going up a
Mm-hmm.
lot, we have stocks that we're betting they're going to
Mm-hmm.
go down.
Right.
So we're not going to make as much
Mm-hmm.
as if the
Mm-hmm.
market goes up. If the
Mm-hmm.
market goes
Kind of a
down,
balancing
right?
act.
It's a
Mm-hmm.
balancing
Mm-hmm.
act, exactly. So we had a great start and continued to have great numbers
Mm-hmm.
in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
The financials, which were the only stocks I was invested in, didn't do well in 2014, and we were up. And so we raised more money,
Mm-hmm.
and things were looking bright.
Mm-hmm.
December 2015, I go to a personal development course,
Mm-hmm.
and two things happened there that
Mm-hmm.
completely changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
First, we had a guest speaker speaking about stocks and stock options. He spoke for
Mm-hmm.
1 hour. It was a 3 day personal
Mm-hmm.
development
Mm-hmm.
course. And when he spoke about stock options in particular, he made it sound easy.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you don't need much time. You don't need much money.
Mm-hmm.
This is how the rich people get
Mm-hmm.
rich, and options are
Mm-hmm.
essentially risk free.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sick to my stomach. This was
Mm-hmm.
day 2 of the
Mm-hmm.
conference. So I had people tapping me on the
Mm-hmm.
shoulder and whispering in my ear, Joel, does this make sense? Are
Right.
options
What do
really
you think about
riskless?
this? Mm-hmm.
And so I was polite.
Mm-hmm.
After he was done, we went out of the auditorium. I told him, please don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
He has no idea about any of you individually,
Mm-hmm.
risk tolerance,
Mm-hmm.
tax status, cash
Mm-hmm.
flow,
Mm-hmm.
earnings, but most importantly, no idea about
Mm-hmm.
your belief
Right.
that you
Mm-hmm.
could become rich using
Mm-hmm.
options.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that happened during that personal development
Mm-hmm.
course was we were given a wooden board 2 inches thick and we
Mm-hmm.
were told we're going to break it with our bare hand. Have you
Mm-hmm.
done it, Deb?
No, because I'm afraid to. Because I
Understood.
don't believe I can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the exercise was called Obstacles Are Illusions.
Okay.
And on one side of the board, we had to write our biggest obstacle. And on the other side of the board, our ultimate goal, which stumped me for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then it hit me. Make everyone in this room financially free.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Make everyone in this room
Mm-hmm.
financially free. And then I broke that board like
Mm-hmm.
the other 200 people did in the
Mm-hmm.
room that day. Went
Mm-hmm.
home that night, couldn't sleep. First, the guy was in my head. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized if I could ever get up the courage to speak
Mm-hmm.
on a stage, because
Mm-hmm.
my biggest fear that day was public speaking,
Mm-hmm.
if I could ever get up the
Mm-hmm.
courage, I could tell people the truth about money,
Mm-hmm.
not lie to them, and be
Mm-hmm.
of service.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing going on in my head was that wooden board staring back at me from across my bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
actually half the wooden board.
Mm-hmm.
Make everyone in this room financially free.
Mm-hmm.
I think it hit me like 4:30 in the morning. I jumped out of bed. I quickly got dressed.
Mm-hmm.
I was at my office in Midtown Manhattan before the sun rose.
Mm-hmm.
I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm giving them their money back. I'm shutting down my fund. I figured out my true purpose on
Mm-hmm.
this earth.
And they thought you had gone insane.
What was interesting is I got crickets.
Mm-hmm.
No one responded to that email. Now it was
They were
2 days before.
perplexed. Mm-hmm.
It was 2 days before
Mm-hmm.
Christmas,
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
but
Yeah.
no one
Mm-hmm.
ever responded to the. And my lawyer
Mm-hmm.
was quite upset, and my CFO more upset. You can't shut down a hedge fund that way. Anyway,
You
but
did.
I was on the way out, and
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
officially shut it down in
Mm-hmm.
2016. And so I started this business in
Mm-hmm.
2017 to teach people the truth about money,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to change their money
Mm-hmm.
mindset, to help them
Mm-hmm.
manifest money,
Mm-hmm.
and to help them. So I thought when I shut down my fund, I'd be teaching people about money mindset,
Mm-hmm.
how to upgrade their money software and investing.
Mm-hmm.
And most of my clients, up until 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
most of my clients have been spiritual entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
So the Reiki master, the
Okay.
energy
Okay.
healer, the
Mm-hmm.
yoga teacher, meditation
Mm-hmm.
teacher, life coach,
Mm-hmm.
psychic,
Mm-hmm.
those are past and
Mm-hmm.
current clients of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And they need help with the business side of it. When I ask them, show me your business plan, they look to me like I had two heads.
Right. We're just here because.
We're going to, we have a vision. We
Mm-hmm.
want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a hobby, not a
Mm-hmm.
business.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the other thing, so what's happened is when I work on their money mindset and raise that money mindset, now they're bringing in clients. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now we got to have strategy.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a plan,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to have marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and people are not going to just fall in your lap, even if like we're manifesting
Mm-hmm.
some.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe, and maybe this is a limiting belief, but I don't believe you can manifest every single client.
Right.
You have
Mm-hmm.
to do some,
You have
take,
to help yourself.
right, right. You have to get out into the
Mm-hmm.
world and take
Mm-hmm.
action,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that will also create
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. Because I will tell you, I don't know any billionaires who just sit at home and meditate and visualize all day.
Right. Mm-hmm. They work hard at it and at
Well,
whatever it is. Mm-hmm.
I will I will say that may be a limiting belief,
Mm-hmm.
but I will say they take action. And
Right.
usually it's inspired
Mm-hmm.
action.
Mm-hmm.
Look, billionaires have the same 24 hours a day, 7
Mm-hmm.
days a week that we
Right.
do,
Mm-hmm.
and they're making 1,000
Mm-hmm.
times or 10,000
Mm-hmm.
times what you're making.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because they've created leverage in the
Mm-hmm.
business model,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have other people working for
Mm-hmm.
them, or
Right.
they do group things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I teach my clients is you need to have leverage in your
Mm-hmm.
business model.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's how I got to where I am today.
I love it, and oh, just so much here to unpack. The first thing I want to jump into is your company, and I mentioned the company name. And so tell us a little bit more about that because I think this is just the so special.
So when I started my hedge fund, I wanted to give. So basically, my big why is my kids,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I named my company after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan, Laur for
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, Mor for Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
So I when I started my hedge fund, and so when I started this prosperity coach in business,
Mm-hmm.
I kept the name,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's solomore.com. Lauren, I am very proud of my daughters. I'll talk about them for a couple minutes if you don't
Yes.
mind.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren is a senior at Syracuse, about to graduate, and she got a job last August.
Mm-hmm.
So most seniors do not get jobs before they
Right.
start their
Right.
senior
Because
year.
they're busy. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
she got an
Mm-hmm.
internship at PNC Bank in
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh last
Mm-hmm.
summer, and they offered her a full-time job, and she's starting in August in Manhattan,
Mm-hmm.
at in their
Mm-hmm.
commercial investment bank
Wow.
internship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also into the arts. She's an
Mm-hmm.
actor and singer.
Oh, so New York's
Well,
perfect for her. Mm-hmm.
right. And my youngest daughter, Morgan, is a sophomore at Colgate.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
When you looked at her resume before she graduated high school, it looked like a college graduate. She had
Mm-hmm.
so much experience.
Mm-hmm.
She is
Mm-hmm.
doing an internship this summer in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
getting paid in her field,
Mm-hmm.
which is unheard of
Right. Right.
for
Mm-hmm.
a sophomore
Mm-hmm.
in go a pre-med in
Mm-hmm.
sophomore
Mm-hmm.
in undergraduate.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to be there for a
Mm-hmm.
few months. I'm excited to visit Texas this
Mm-hmm.
summer. And yeah, so really proud of my daughters.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I love that your company name honors them because I mentioned several things in your bio and we talked about it too that it's mindset, right? It's how we're thinking about it. It's the why. We all know Simon Sinek's what is your why? And yours is your family, your daughters. And so everything you do because of your company name, you're just automatically thinking of them.
Absolutely.
And it's I love that because they may or may not ever now the one daughter might be involved later in what you do, who knows, but that's not why. It's not going to be you and daughter, right? That is not, but it is keeping them in mind in a positive way to always be doing that. And it's just I love that story.
Thank you.
Right. And the other thing you mentioned is, you went to that presentation and you thought, oh, if only I could get up there and be a speaker. You're an award-winning TEDx speaker now. So tell us a little bit more about that journey.
Great question. So, yeah, when I went to that personal development course and before my whole life, if you asked me to speak in front of more than two people, I
Mm-hmm.
would have read from a piece of
Yes.
paper
And if you
shaking.
got lost, that was it. Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
but I had the piece of paper I
Mm-hmm.
was reading, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Mm-hmm.
boring and
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
animated, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't steal the stage,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't captivating.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put me in the spotlight, just shoot me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I wrote my first book, Mindful Money Management, I realized that I needed to market it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in order to market it, I
Mm-hmm.
needed to speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
needed to speak about it enthusiastically,
Mm-hmm.
not reading from a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to my mentor, Mike Dooley, who
Mm-hmm.
wrote New York Times bestseller Infinite Possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Mike has a note from the universe that goes out to 1.6 million
Mm-hmm.
people globally
Mm-hmm.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also certified to teach
Ah.
IP,
Mm-hmm.
so Infinite
Mm-hmm.
Possibilities. So I asked him, because he tells his
Mm-hmm.
story about how he started his
Mm-hmm.
career as an accountant. He
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
also was, the guy looking at his,
He was looking at the shoes. Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said he joined Toastmasters.
Ah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, let me
Mm-hmm.
try that. So
Mm-hmm.
I met him in October
Mm-hmm.
2016. And I went to different
Mm-hmm.
Toastmaster meetings in November, December of 2016 with a lot of fear, a lot of apprehension,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of worry at how can I get up there,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
I had already shut down my hedge fund at the time, and I also
Ah,
knew I needed to
you
grow
needed to
this
pay those
business.
bills.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so I found the
Mm-hmm.
Toastmasters, the Lexington Vanderbilt Toastmasters in Midtown Manhattan, and I joined.
Mm-hmm.
And in January, I threw myself in. My daughter Lauren
Mm-hmm.
was getting bat mitzvahed in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a big why.
You're gonna
Besides
have to
my own
speak.
why,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, I want to be able to speak
Mm-hmm.
at that bat
Mm-hmm.
mitzvah without
Right.
my piece of
Mm-hmm.
paper
You wanted to look at
shaking.
her. You wanted to look at the
Right, the
guests.
crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you, I have two very
Mm-hmm.
proud moments in my life.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is speaking at Lauren's bat mitzvah
Mm-hmm.
in front of 200 people for 17 minutes
Wow.
without any note cards.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
And and the second was
Mm-hmm.
speaking at Morgan's bat mitzvah 2 years later
Mm-hmm.
in front of 250
Mm-hmm.
people for 16
Mm-hmm.
minutes without any note cards
Mm-hmm.
and walking into the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was confident enough two
Right.
years later
Right.
with Toastmasters going. By
Mm-hmm.
the way, I spoke at Toastmasters pretty much every week from January to March
Mm-hmm.
when March 4th
Mm-hmm.
of 2017 was her bat mitzvah.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically spoke eight
Mm-hmm.
weeks. Like I
Mm-hmm.
practiced and they gave me feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the
Right.
most
Mm-hmm.
powerful feedbacks
Mm-hmm.
I got was when I first gave the first speech, and I pretty much read that one
Mm-hmm.
shaking. The president of the club, who wasn't even an
Mm-hmm.
evaluator, he came up to me afterwards and said, Joel, this is a great speech.
Mm-hmm.
You basically said, I love you, Lauren,
Mm-hmm.
in 12 different
Mm-hmm.
ways for 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I would highly recommend you tell stories
Ah. Mm-hmm.
and make a point,
Mm-hmm.
tell a story and make a point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ripped up that speech
Mm-hmm.
and revised it and two stories. And I just told 12 stories about
Mm-hmm.
Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
And Lauren told me on the Monday after in school, two different girls walked up to her and said, your dad gave a great speech
Mm-hmm.
at your bar mitzvah.
He really loves you.
He really loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was stories
Mm-hmm.
about, and by the way, Lauren's a magical manifester,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
she's manifested her job at PNC Bank
Mm-hmm.
and pretty
Mm-hmm.
much everything else.
Right.
I have tons of stories about
Mm-hmm.
her. And that's what I did. That
Mm-hmm.
was my
Mm-hmm.
speech. I gave stories
Mm-hmm.
about how
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, wherever we went
Mm-hmm.
from, I got divorced when she
Mm-hmm.
was 4.
Mm-hmm.
And from like, we started traveling when she was
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And for those 7, 8 years
Mm-hmm.
before bar mitzvah,
Mm-hmm.
we would go to like Universal Studios,
Ah. Mm-hmm.
and she would get picked out of the crowd
Mm-hmm.
to be at the Animals Act Live
Mm-hmm.
show out of
Mm-hmm.
350 kids. Now
Mm-hmm.
Morgan was standing right next to
Mm-hmm.
her, like me, and
Yes.
Lauren
Mm-hmm.
would get picked.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Dutch Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Hershey Park.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Mm-hmm.
amusement park we went to, there was a show we went
Mm-hmm.
to, the characters quiz show. She get
Mm-hmm.
picked out of
Mm-hmm.
and she would be on. She was on
Mm-hmm.
stage like 12 times from age 5 or
Mm-hmm.
6 to
Right.
12,
And loved
wherever
it.
we went, and
Mm-hmm.
and and loved it because
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to be center stage.
Mm-hmm.
She lit up.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Right.
was my
Mm-hmm.
speech, and it
Mm-hmm.
was memorable
Mm-hmm.
because it was all about her
Mm-hmm.
manifestations.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think the thing is, you were speaking from the heart. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about. That really should be what it is. Otherwise, it is just going to be the I'm reading this and it's a very rote type of thing. And, it's, and, plug for Toastmasters. I've been an evaluator for them before, but I've never actually participated. But yeah, anytime I have someone who says, "Oi," I send them to Toastmasters. I When I lived in Denver, I taught at Metro State and I taught a communications class. And one of the things that I had them do was sample interviews, right? So they would have two people interviewing them. And the thing about Metro, it's a university in the middle of Denver, no dorms. And so it's people 18 to 65 years, right? And so I had this delightful young girl who, now she was young. I mean, she was, 20 years old, and she'd worked with the two people who were going to be interviewing her for quite a while. I mean, this was not anything that we threw them into. And she gets, she's the interviewee, and so she's asking their questions or answering their questions. And she looks at me because I was the HR person who popped in and asked those questions, right? And she looked at me and she said, "I'm going to throw up." And she's looking at my feet. And I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no." Now, I did reach over and grab the trash can just in case. But, and so she was comfortable talking to them. But then all of a sudden she was in front of the room, right? And she wanted to go into public relations. So she's going to be in front of people. And I told her, I said, you really need to go to Toastmasters. And she did. I didn't keep in touch with her. But yeah, Toastmasters is a wonderful way, and they're very small. I mean, it's not like you're all of a
Yep.
sudden talking in front of 1,000 people. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
small
20
group.
people.
Well, and they give such positive.
Great feedback.
Yes, yes. It's not, "Oh my God, that was horrible."
Yeah, they use the sandwich technique,
Hmm.
which is, telling
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
positive,
Right.
something that
Hmm.
you did great,
Hmm.
something you can improve upon,
Hmm.
and something that you did
Hmm.
great. And
Right.
so
Hmm.
it's a very kind
Hmm.
way of
Hmm.
giving
Hmm.
feedback. And I learned so much and improved so
Hmm.
much over
Right.
those few
Hmm.
years that I went.
Hmm. Right, right. So then you became a TEDx speaker. Now you don't need to go into the great detail about how you did it, but tell us a little bit more about that, what that was like.
So what happened was in the end of 2022, three people reached out to me and
Mm-hmm.
said, "You should do a TEDx talk."
Huh. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Me? No, I don't have
Why?
anything to say."
Mm-hmm.
And two of
Mm-hmm.
them, and I went back to them. And so if one person tells me to do something, I'm like, okay, that's an
Yeah,
incidence.
yeah.
If
Mm-hmm.
two people, it's a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Three people, that's a pattern.
Right.
Okay. And
Maybe
then you
you
got to
should pay
listen to it.
attention to
Yeah.
it.
So
Mm-hmm.
pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, so I reached back out to them and said, "Do you have any people that could help
Mm-hmm.
me get
Mm-hmm.
on the stage?"
Mm-hmm.
And two of them gave me the same person.
Ah,
But
that's
and
yeah,
the
that's a
I
sign.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
and the third person gave me someone else, and I
Mm-hmm.
just said, "Oh, I'll talk to them too."
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to both of the
Mm-hmm.
programs, the
Mm-hmm.
coaching programs, and I had done a little bit of research
Mm-hmm.
before, and I don't know if you know the statistics, Deb, but something like 98% of people who apply for a TEDx fail.
Right, because
They
they all
never get
think
on
we can do
stage.
this. Mm-hmm.
So they apply and they get rejected.
Mm-hmm.
So 98% of people who apply get
Mm-hmm.
rejected. So out of every 100 people,
Mm-hmm.
two,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when I heard about,
Mm-hmm.
so I asked both of these
Mm-hmm.
programs, like, so how many people have you gotten on
Mm-hmm.
stage? One of them said 17 and one of them said 400.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the more
Mm-hmm.
experienced
Mm-hmm.
person who has a
Mm-hmm.
lot of process.
Mm-hmm.
And so Taylor Conroy's
Mm-hmm.
program is, and he probably has 600 or 700 people now
Mm-hmm.
that he's coached to get
Mm-hmm.
on stage. It's just it's a,
Mm-hmm.
how do I put it? He combines basically what I do. He
Mm-hmm.
combines mindset and
Mm-hmm.
strategy,
Mm-hmm.
mindset and process.
Mm-hmm.
And so he recorded all these series of
Mm-hmm.
videos, right? And that's what I do in my mastermind group for people to follow
Mm-hmm.
through to get on
Mm-hmm.
TEDx, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has his coaches
Mm-hmm.
that work with you as
Mm-hmm.
well to create the arc of the speech.
Mm-hmm.
And but was really telling for me was that I was in the right place was his first or second video was a visualization And by the way,
Mm-hmm.
rule number 4 in the 9 Money Rules
Mm-hmm.
Millionaires Use, my second book, is
Mm-hmm.
can visualization
Mm-hmm.
help you become
Mm-hmm.
financially free?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm in the right place,
Right. Yeah.
right? He had close your
Mm-hmm.
eyes, visualize
Mm-hmm.
yourself on
Right.
stage,
You're
take a
on
deep breath
stage.
in, you're
Mm-hmm.
already
Mm-hmm.
there. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
recorded it, that audio in my own voice and
Mm-hmm.
listened to that every day until
Mm-hmm.
I actually got up on
Mm-hmm.
stage in
Mm-hmm.
Kauai for the
Mm-hmm.
first. So I had the inside baseball. I got approved twice.
Mm-hmm.
I applied 38 times,
Mm-hmm.
got approved twice,
Mm-hmm.
once in Kauai, once online for the
Mm-hmm.
Texas Cole Park
Mm-hmm.
studio.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kauai didn't see the light of day, but the Cole Park
Mm-hmm.
studio did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. And I mean, all of this is coming back to what I said in your bio and things like that, and it's mindset, right? If you, I don't know who said it. If you see it, you can be it. And that's the
Visuals.
visualization part. But it's about your mindset and all that, like financial. Now I am very fortunate. I am married to somebody who's very good at that, and so that's part of my mindset. I will admit that. I don't have to do it because he does. But I have always thought it's hard. I can't do that. All of those things. And I'm not saying it's because I'm female, because we obviously have lots of incredibly talented women who do this.
Right.
But because I always think it's hard, it's going to be hard. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so how do you work with people to now, some people, I'm guessing that's the way their mindset is set, you know, but how do you work with people who are like, okay, Joel, I want to get better. I want to do this. Walk us through that.
Yeah, so one of the first questions I ask people, even when they're getting on my calendar,
Mm-hmm.
is, are you coachable?
Right.
Are
Mm-hmm.
you willing to get out of your
Mm-hmm.
comfort zone?
Mm-hmm.
And are you willing to put the money, the time,
Mm-hmm.
money, and
Mm-hmm.
energy into this
Mm-hmm.
program for it to be a success for
Mm-hmm.
you?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they don't answer yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we move. We don't
Right.
have a call.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not
Mm-hmm.
open-minded,
Mm-hmm.
and so yes, if you believe everything is hard, if it's or
Mm-hmm.
impossible.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, my favorite book, Think and Grow Rich by
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon Hill,
Mm-hmm.
says cut out the word impossible. And people
Right.
don't have dictionaries anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but cut out the
Yeah.
from your Wikipedia,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
cut it out from
Mm-hmm.
Wikipedia,
Mm-hmm.
impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if you believe it's
Mm-hmm.
impossible, it will be for
Mm-hmm.
you.
Right. Right.
And humans have done incredibly
Mm-hmm.
amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you even, there have been 100-year-old women running
Mm-hmm.
marathons,
Right. Mm-hmm.
right? And so the human body
Mm-hmm.
is pretty freaking amazing,
Mm-hmm. Right. Our
right? And the
brain is
mind
so powerful. Mm-hmm.
and the brain, by the way, like I don't know if it's true that we're truly only using 10% of it, but there's
Mm-hmm.
a large
Mm-hmm.
amount
Mm-hmm.
that we're not tapping
Mm-hmm.
into. And I believe that's where we can tap
Mm-hmm.
into infinite
Mm-hmm.
intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have access to infinite
Mm-hmm.
intelligence if we
Mm-hmm.
concentrate on that.
Right.
And so, yes, what I do is I upgrade people's money
Mm-hmm.
software.
Mm-hmm.
They got malware running in the background.
Right. You can't do this. You can't do this. Ooh, 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 you're going to lose money. Whatever.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, right. And
Mm-hmm.
so we don't go line by line
Mm-hmm.
into the code.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is we instill empowering
Mm-hmm.
beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what my mentor Mike Dooley says is don't go looking for that invisible limiting belief you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to find,
Right.
and you may actually find something,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not serving you when you're
Mm-hmm.
focused
Mm-hmm.
on what's hard, what's
Mm-hmm.
limiting you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're attracting.
Right. And you're
So
only probably going to
focus.
find more.
Right. If
Mm-hmm.
you spend all your time, it's like the woman who's researching cancer day after day
Mm-hmm.
after day after day after
Mm-hmm.
day, like really on trying to
Mm-hmm.
understand. And she doesn't have cancer, but
Mm-hmm.
she's researching every
Mm-hmm.
day to hear about
Mm-hmm.
like and spends her whole
Mm-hmm.
day watching the
Mm-hmm.
podcast and listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh my God, she got cancer. How did
Mm-hmm.
that happen?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have any symptoms at
Right.
all,
But her brain was thinking about it.
all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And look, I'm not saying that happens all the time, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, what you think about, you bring about,
Mm-hmm.
right? Most
Mm-hmm.
of the time.
Right.
And so if you believe that the stock market's risky,
Mm-hmm.
it's impossible to make money in the stock market,
Mm-hmm.
despite the evidence of
Mm-hmm.
millions and millions
Mm-hmm.
of people making millions and
They
millions of
got
dollars.
lucky.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally had a woman come to me right after I
Mm-hmm.
started doing prosperity coaching who came to me and said, um, I want to put my money elsewhere. It's all in cash.
Mm-hmm.
I have $300,000 in
Mm-hmm.
cash. I said, okay, well, why do you have your money in
Mm-hmm.
cash? She said, well, it's safe there. And I said, okay, but how much are you earning?
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know if you
Zero.
remember, yeah, in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
the interest rates,
Mm-hmm.
even on the savings
Mm-hmm.
accounts, were like 1%.
Right.
So even like high
Mm-hmm.
yield was
Mm-hmm.
two,
Yeah.
right? So she
Unless
was
you
like
had a
earning
heck of
one,
a lot you started with, you were not going to make very much.
right? So she was making $3,000 a year, right,
Ooh.
on
Mm-hmm.
300,000,
Mm-hmm.
right? And and so I said, you do know that you're actually getting a negative
Right.
return
She's losing money. Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
inflation
Mm-hmm.
is more
Mm-hmm.
like,
Right.
okay, the official inflation rate at the time was 2%,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone knows the real inflation rate is higher. And
Right.
today it's
Mm-hmm.
probably 8 to 12
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
percent if you include,
Mm-hmm.
gas and oil
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
food, right?
Mm-hmm.
That people
Mm-hmm.
actually use, not,
Mm-hmm.
oh, let's exclude the things that are high
Mm-hmm.
and make that the
Mm-hmm.
core
Mm-hmm.
inflation rate. That doesn't make any
Mm-hmm.
sense. That's what we're
Mm-hmm.
paying the most
Right.
for.
So we, yeah.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so that's an aside.
Mm-hmm.
But so she was losing money. So
Mm-hmm.
she said to me, look, I want to make more money,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to keep my money safe. I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, are you
Mm-hmm.
open to investing in the stock market?
Mm-hmm.
No, the stock market's risky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to lose my money. What about investing in property? You could buy, a
Mm-hmm.
few properties
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
at really good interest
Mm-hmm.
rates. And no, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have my money illiquid. I can't get access to
Mm-hmm.
it. Crypto was just starting out then. I said, what about bonds?
Mm-hmm.
She said, well, can't they go down? I said, absolutely, they can go
Mm-hmm.
down.
Right.
She's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't want to do any of those.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was not coachable,
No, she
right?
was not.
She was not coachable.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had hundreds of
Mm-hmm.
clients who are coachable,
Mm-hmm.
who say, I want to learn
Mm-hmm.
about the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 5-step proprietary stock
Mm-hmm.
screen I
Mm-hmm.
teach.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, because of my speaker coach
Mm-hmm.
who has a done for you program herself, she
Mm-hmm.
said, why don't she said to all her clients, come up
Mm-hmm.
with a done for you service. So I
Mm-hmm.
came up with the Invest Smart Engine,
Mm-hmm.
which is a service where people don't
Mm-hmm.
need to know my process.
Mm-hmm.
They just get the results of my stock
Mm-hmm.
screen every week, and they get to decide
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
much, or
Mm-hmm.
if they are
Right.
going to
Mm-hmm.
invest. This the stocks. So the average return
Mm-hmm.
for the Invest Smart Engine since last May has been 74% up to 200% in
Wow.
one
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what clients
Mm-hmm.
have generated since
Mm-hmm.
I started the Invest Smart
Right.
Engine. So
Mm-hmm.
so you can get really good
Mm-hmm.
returns, but you have to believe. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the other thing I ask my clients
Mm-hmm.
before they start working
Mm-hmm.
with me. First, I ask them,
Mm-hmm.
what's their belief level from 1 to 10? 10 is absolute faith, 1 is massive doubt
Mm-hmm.
that you will get your money back working with me. You
Mm-hmm.
have to pay me for me to coach
Mm-hmm.
you,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you
Mm-hmm.
believe that you're going to manifest it
Mm-hmm.
or get a
Mm-hmm.
really good return on the
Mm-hmm.
money in
Mm-hmm.
investments or in your business?
Mm-hmm.
You have to come in with
Mm-hmm.
at least a 9
Mm-hmm.
or 10,
Mm-hmm.
believing that if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to work with me, you're getting your money back
Mm-hmm.
and multiple.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we don't work
Mm-hmm.
together.
Right.
And then if I'm for the people who I'm teaching investing,
Mm-hmm.
I ask the same
Mm-hmm.
question, but it's really important that we get a 9 or 10
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
if they say 6,
Eh.
we don't work together
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
they are going to create their reality.
Mm-hmm.
I learned this, by the way, last year when I started the InvestSmart engine.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 people start the same day.
Mm-hmm.
One knew me through Infinite
Mm-hmm.
Possibilities. She's also an Infinite
Mm-hmm.
Possibilities trainer. She knew my work. She knew my hedge fund
Mm-hmm.
background. When I asked her what her
Mm-hmm.
number was, I'm absolute 10. I
10.
know
Yeah.
this is going to
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
The second guy I met networking,
Mm-hmm.
and he really needed to
Mm-hmm.
make some money. His
Mm-hmm.
business wasn't making any money. He's like, Joel,
Mm-hmm.
I got some investments. They
Mm-hmm.
they haven't worked out. I didn't ask him his number.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask either of them their number on the day they
Mm-hmm.
started.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do.
Mm-hmm.
So so I asked Cindy afterwards, like
Mm-hmm.
a couple of months after,
Mm-hmm.
because things were going well.
Mm-hmm.
What's your number? What's your belief that this is going to
Mm-hmm.
work? Oh, I'm 10.
Mm-hmm.
This other guy, um, he probably was lower. I've never
Mm-hmm.
asked him, but
Mm-hmm.
my guess is probably like a 3.
Then okay, so why was he even bothering? I mean,
Because he really needed to have some money come
right,
in, right? He needed, but he had lost money in the stock market
right.
previously.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so they both start the same day.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 stocks that pass the first week, my
Mm-hmm.
screen. 2 stocks pass my screen.
Mm-hmm.
He picks one,
Mm-hmm.
she picks the other.
Huh.
The one
Mm-hmm.
she picked,
Mm-hmm.
the one she
Mm-hmm.
picked went up 75% in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
The one he picked
Mm-hmm. That he
in
was
the first
about.
in the first 3 months
Mm-hmm.
went up 3%.
Mm-hmm.
The second 2 weeks later,
Mm-hmm.
I sent an alert to everyone. A stock that had passed earlier in the year
Mm-hmm.
in May, this was
Mm-hmm.
August, had come down,
Mm-hmm.
had dropped, and
Mm-hmm.
now it has my price targets 100% upside
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
Sent an alert to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
She invests a week later,
Mm-hmm.
missed the bottom, but
Mm-hmm.
invests
Came
like 10,
close. Mm-hmm.
12% higher.
Mm-hmm.
She was on vacation
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
And he ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
That stock went
Mm-hmm.
up 175% for her in the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make any money
Right, because he
because
he
he
ignored
ignored it.
you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she renewed,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going to be a lifetime client.
Mm-hmm.
She's made so much money in
Right.
the last
Mm-hmm.
year. He didn't renew,
Right. He's
and
gone on to the next thing
and
that he's trying. Mm-hmm.
he
Mm-hmm.
so he'll say Joel's method's crap,
Mm-hmm.
and she'll say Joel's
Mm-hmm.
the best thing since
Mm-hmm.
sliced bread.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
they both created
Mm-hmm.
their reality.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't me,
Right. Right.
right? I mean, I
Right.
have a
Mm-hmm.
process that works
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for most people, and
Mm-hmm.
I will say now
Mm-hmm.
I asked the belief
Mm-hmm.
question
Right.
because
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
last July, I wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I guess my thought process would be if I did not think it was going to work and work well, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I mean that's just and even if I talked to say Cindy and she said, "Oh my gosh, you have to do this, you have to do this." If I still didn't have that faith, then no, I would probably and now that said, I might say, okay, I'll do just the bare minimum, or whatever. But
Hey, right,
again, I'm waiting for it to fail to prove that I was right.
right. So I've had this conversation a lot. It keeps on
Mm-hmm.
coming up in the last week or two.
Mm-hmm.
In For most humans,
Mm-hmm.
seeing
Mm-hmm.
is believing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So Cindy got some results.
Mm-hmm.
Now her belief level went up.
Mm-hmm.
But in
Mm-hmm.
reality, her belief level was high to begin with.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because she knew you. Mm-hmm.
Believing is seeing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Believing is
Mm-hmm.
seeing. It's
Right.
not seeing is believing. If
Mm-hmm.
you believe that
Mm-hmm.
if you know in your heart of hearts
Mm-hmm.
that I can help you
Mm-hmm.
get to $50,000 a month in your business, if you know in
Mm-hmm.
your heart of hearts that I can
Mm-hmm.
help you double your
Right.
money,
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
then it will
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a one,
Mm-hmm.
massive doubt,
Mm-hmm. Even
there's
if you're
no way,
five.
even if you're 5,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even if you're 5, you have some
Mm-hmm.
doubts, then you're going to create the
Mm-hmm.
doubts
Mm-hmm.
so that it won't work.
Right.
And so now I ask on every call I
Mm-hmm.
have, what's your belief level from 1 to 10
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to get a
Mm-hmm.
massive return on your
Mm-hmm.
investment working
Mm-hmm.
with me? And if they're a one, two,
Right.
three, four, five,
Mm-hmm.
six,
Mm-hmm.
it's not happening. We're
Right.
not
Right.
going forward.
Well, and it's that way with everything, right? I don't know why I was thinking about this. If somebody's dating, right? And you said, what is your goal is to be married. Now, that's their goal. They want to be married. So, what is your faith that this person you're dating is going to be the person that yeah. If they say, well, they might still go and have fun, right? But, if they're keeping in mind that goal, then they're going to say bye bye to that person.
Exactly. If they're my age, they're not
Right.
wasting time.
Right.
Right. It's
Well,
like,
and because what happens is, if you don't have that faith, then you are looking for things to go wrong.
right, exactly.
And then those little things become huge things. Whether it's okay, I lost 1% today. Oh my gosh. Or he didn't load the dishwasher right. Whatever it is.
Right. Right. Good point.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and so you're just looking for that positive or that negative. And I think we've
You're
all,
creating it.
yeah, and I don't, again, random things pop into my head. I don't know if Yoda actually said this, but this seems like something Yoda would say. There is no try, there is only do. Seems like Yoda,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I think that is a
Yeah,
quote from Yoda.
yeah.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm,
it's what I teach my
mm-hmm,
clients is
mm-hmm,
there's do
mm-hmm,
or not do.
mm-hmm.
There's no
Right,
try. So
right.
you're either
Mm-hmm,
doing it or you're not
mm-hmm,
doing it.
mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right, right. Now when I was reading your bio, you mentioned that I mentioned that the true foundation of wealth is a mindset of gratitude, love, and service. So I really want to talk more about that because I think it's some people would say, well, that's a little woohoo, right? I just want to make money. I just want to be successful. I just want all these things. But why is gratitude, love, and service the what we really need to be aiming for?
So what you appreciate appreciates.
Mm-hmm.
What you appreciate
Mm-hmm.
appreciates.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is an emotional guidance scale.
Mm-hmm.
And the lowest level is depression,
Mm-hmm.
suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit up is anger,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
The highest level is gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
appreciation, joy, love, and passion.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the same vibrations as abundance and prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will tell you when you're operating from a place of gratitude, it doesn't mean complacency. It
Right.
means
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for what I
Mm-hmm.
have and I want
Mm-hmm.
more to be
Right.
grateful for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, rule number 5 in the 9 money rules,
Mm-hmm.
what you appreciate appreciates,
Mm-hmm.
is all about gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that has completely changed my life when I started a gratitude journal in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And recently I read a book. Um, one book was called Thanks, and the other book was
Mm-hmm.
called A Simple Act of Gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy wrote a thank you note for 365 days to 365
Mm-hmm.
different people.
Mm-hmm.
And the manifestations that happened to
Mm-hmm.
him during those
Mm-hmm.
365 days, he was a lawyer almost about to go into bankruptcy court.
Mm-hmm.
And during the 365 days, the
Mm-hmm.
business and personal life completely turned around.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's truly because of his
Mm-hmm.
focus on gratitude.
Right.
So here's a tip: write down 3 things you're grateful for every night before you go to sleep and why.
Mm-hmm. And these
It,
don't have to be earth moving, folks.
right. It could be I'm grateful I got through today.
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm. Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for being on the Business
Mm-hmm.
Power Hour today.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
for my health.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for my daughters. I say that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do a gratitude journal both in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and at night. And write down
Mm-hmm.
why. Writing down why is really important.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Not just, and it shouldn't be
I'm
just
grateful for Lorna
because.
Morgan.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for Lorna Morgan for teaching me unconditional love.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Love, as I already mentioned, is
Mm-hmm.
also the highest vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we talked about law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
If you can just be grateful, if you can just be love,
Mm-hmm.
Lauren actually said this to me just on a phone call a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Man, you are wise
You
beyond
got
your
smart
years."
kids. Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like they're up here. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they talk, and I'm like, "Could you
Mm-hmm.
repeat that for your dad to dumb it down a bit?"
Mm-hmm.
Because, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But she said, when you are love,
Mm-hmm.
you attract love.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you can just be love all day,
Mm-hmm.
every day, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna experience that more and more. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's so
Mm-hmm.
intelligent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's gratitude, that's
Mm-hmm.
love,
Mm-hmm.
and service. I just
Mm-hmm.
believe if you're
Mm-hmm.
coming from that place of helping others, and I do it, my speaker coach and business coach tells me you're coaching too much on the sales call, right? Like
Mm-hmm. You're
I'm
giving it
giving,
away.
I'm get, and
Mm-hmm.
I just
Mm-hmm.
that's so it's really
Mm-hmm.
hard for me, and maybe that's a limiting belief. I'm working on it,
Mm-hmm.
but I just
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for me
Mm-hmm.
to just like see
Right.
someone who needs my
Mm-hmm.
help in this
Mm-hmm.
minute
Mm-hmm.
to give them a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, give them a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of
Right.
service,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I think when you come from that place of
Mm-hmm.
service, uh, the abundance
Mm-hmm.
is just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
incalculable. And so I've met a billionaire, people who have worth hundreds of millions
Mm-hmm.
of dollars, and they are the most giving, generous
Mm-hmm.
people who coming from a
Mm-hmm.
place of service that I
Mm-hmm.
know.
Right.
And, of course, the rich
Mm-hmm.
person in social media, in TV, movies, radio,
Mm-hmm.
all characterized as the evil,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
criminal
Mm-hmm.
rich people. But I will tell you, in my personal look, I haven't met
Mm-hmm.
10 million people who are worth
Mm-hmm.
over $10
Mm-hmm.
million, but I'm pretty sure you haven't either.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a statistician
Mm-hmm.
by training,
Mm-hmm.
so I know it's not
Mm-hmm.
statistically significant, but the
Mm-hmm.
the few handfuls of people that I've
Mm-hmm.
met who are very rich
Right.
are the most
Mm-hmm.
kind, caring,
Mm-hmm.
generous people I've met.
Right. And those that aren't are the most unhappy. I mean, that's the thing. And folks, we're not talking about being Pollyanna. I have people who tell me, "Oh, you're always so happy. How can you be so happy with all of your health issues?" I'm like, "Why not?"
You
I
have a
mean,
choice.
yeah, and are there bad days and bad times? Yes. you know, but I give myself the grace to go, "Okay, today is not a good day. I need a nap. I'm not going to be able to do whatever. I mean, whatever it is." And go, "Okay, that's all right." Is it something I might need to tell my doctors about? Sure, maybe. But yeah, it's there, and yeah, so frequently some of my, gratitudes are I woke up.
Right,
you
right.
know.
And
Mhm.
rule number three, by the way, in the nine money rules millionaires use is, can happiness
Mhm.
buy me money?
Mhm.
Not can money buy me happiness. Can
Right.
happiness buy me money?
Mhm.
Because again, not being Pollyanna,
Mhm.
but I just truly believe if you're operating from this
Mhm.
very high
Mhm.
vibration of
Right.
happiness,
Mhm.
and here's
Mhm.
something, here's another tip
Mhm.
anybody who's
Mhm.
who's watching can
Mhm.
use. So if you're feeling down about your money situation,
Mhm.
write down, or before you're feeling down about your money situation, write down 10 things
Mhm.
that make you feel happy.
Mhm.
It could be uplifting song,
Mhm.
going for a jog, going for
Mhm.
a walk, walking to the
Mhm.
beach, playing with your kids, playing with your
Mhm.
dog or cat,
Mhm.
getting a mani pedi,
Mhm.
getting a massage.
Mhm.
Well, and it doesn't
Mhm.
have to be spending money. Most of the
Right.
things aren't
Mhm.
about spending money,
Mhm.
but write down some things
Mhm.
that make you happy, so that when you're feeling down about your money situation, okay, your
Mhm.
business didn't make any money
Mhm.
or made very little money
Mhm.
this month, just put on some song,
Mhm.
meditate,
Right. Play ball
visualize.
with your kids.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it because if you're wallowing in this low vibration state of
Mhm.
worry and fear and
Mhm.
anger, then that's what you're
Mhm.
attracting.
Right.
So you
Right.
need to get out. And
Mhm.
I'm not saying you can go from down here in
Mhm.
sadness
Mhm.
up to joy and
Right.
gratitude
Mhm.
immediately. But if you put on the
Mhm.
uplifting song,
Mhm.
maybe you'll get to
Mhm.
hope,
Mhm.
or you'll get
Right.
to
Mhm.
overwhelm,
Mhm.
which is still so
Mhm.
much better than
Mhm.
depression.
Right. Right. I'm the generation that watched Grey's Anatomy, right? Long long ago. And they would have their dance parties. When it was a hard day. Now, let's be honest, they had really hard days. And so they would dance it out.
Yep.
Do that in your office. Nobody has to see you.
Right.
I don't want anybody to see me doing that. And some days maybe it's just I'm doing a head bob. right? But to me, music is something that is always very, very important. But yeah,
Yeah.
hug your kids, sit with your cat, let it purr. I mean, all of those things. And sometimes it's thinking of the this didn't go wrong type of
Right.
things.
Right.
Well, oh my gosh, Joel, this has been so much fun. And I think we've just scratched the surface on this. So I'd love to
Yeah.
have you back on again, especially because let's be honest, the world's a little rough right now, in a variety of ways. And so it's great to be able to think about how can we make it better for ourselves. Not for anybody else. No. How can we make it better for ourselves? And so I would love to have you on again. But for somebody who says, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready, Joel. How do they find you and what are the services that you provide?
Yeah. So go to salomor.com,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we'll
SALURMOR.com.
have that in the show notes.
And so what I'll do is for the first seven people,
Mm-hmm.
uh, get my calendar,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to give you an individualized roadmap to an extra $10,000 in the next 30
Mm-hmm.
days. This is my financial freedom breakthrough blueprint call.
Mm-hmm.
It's normally a $997 call,
Wow. Oh, thank
but
you.
first seven
Mm-hmm.
people, it's my gift
Mm-hmm.
to you. So jump on that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a ton of freebies at
Mm-hmm.
solomon.com.
Mm-hmm.
But jump on my calendar
Mm-hmm.
for those first seven
Mm-hmm.
people. And if you're not the first seven, get on my email list.
Mm-hmm.
I have a weekly
Mm-hmm.
email that goes out to a few thousand
Mm-hmm.
people with a money tip,
Mm-hmm.
the money affirmation. And I even highlight a member of my network.
Mm-hmm.
And each week I read a book.
Mm-hmm.
So I give notes to the book I read
Wow.
that week,
Mm-hmm.
both written
Mm-hmm.
and audio
Mm-hmm.
notes.
I love that. And like you said, your website has so many great resources. And so let's be honest, folks, there's no excuse. No, no excuse. Well, I really have been having so much fun talking with Joel. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
I think the most important is hashtag doubt the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Have faith in your dream. Don't have faith in your doubt. The doubts are going to come up in your business, but don't have the faith in the doubt. Have faith in the dream. Go back to, your why and think about why you're doing what you're doing. Just don't believe the doubts. They're going to pop up, but doubt the doubt.
I love it. Well, I'm Deb Krier. I've been having so much fun talking with Joel Solomon. And until next time, everyone have a great day.